Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby and I had no intention of filming today, but I think the Halloween spirit hit kind of hard because I went to the library and I checked out 11 different books. It's a very precarious stack, so I'm gonna do my absolute best here, but the assumption is I'm going to be reading all of these books before they are due. And that's not going to be the hardest thing in the world because I can renew these books 3 times. So it's possible. If I play it right, I think I can have these books for like 3 months. So the amount is not actually ridiculous. It's just unprecedented. I went in with like a list of a couple of books I was kind of on the lookout for because it said that the library had them at my location and everything, and I left with 11 books. I think that like it's finally clicked for me that it's autumn and it is like prime reading time, and I am going to just tell you about all 11 of the books that I got. Should I do a thumbnail right now? I probably should do a thumbnail right now. Oh goodness. So I'm going to be showing you these books in no particular order. I just kind of arranged them in a way that would make sure they were all going to stand up. I wouldn't call this like a TBR video because if I'm going to be like revealing a TBR, I'm only going to be doing that if the TBR is like for something, like if it's for something fun or if there was like a game involved in like curating that TBR. I don't find myself gravitating towards like straight TBR videos that often, and I feel like there's kind of like a sense of obligation that comes with just like the straight you are going to read these books this month type of video. And the thing is, I DNF books quite frequently, and not even in like a meaningful way. Like I'll read the first like 5 pages, sometimes even less, and if there's something I don't like, sometimes that's enough for me. Or sometimes I'll pick up a book and be super excited about it, and then when I actually start reading, I realize like I'm not actually interested in this topic. I don't know why I thought I was. I don't necessarily want to keep like a record of the books that I obtained and then didn't even touch, because it's quite likely with this stack of books, there will be some that I simply will allow to languish on my bookshelf until eventually I will turn it back in when the time is right. But I don't know, I'm excited about this little library haul and I wanted to share it. I've already been talking for 6 minutes. Okay, so the first book on the list was one that I was like actually looking for because it fits the Halloween vibes that I am trying to collect. I finished one book this month and it was very like dark, gothic, spooky, so I'm trying to kind of keep that ball rolling. Hold on 1 second. I don't know if you're even able to see that part of the door, but this door connects to my roommate's room, and every time like the heat kicks in, the door will like open because of like the vents pushing like the hot air out, and yeah, it definitely goes with the spooky vibe, that's for sure. I mean, it doesn't scare me anymore, but the first time it happened, I was like, not a huge fan of this now haunted house that I'm living in. Apologize if it makes it hard for you to hear me. One of my roommates lived in California before coming up here to the Pacific Northwest, and we have to have the heater on all the time or else she'll die. But anyway, on to the first book. It is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I'm gonna try to not blind you with my ring light. Let's scoot over here. The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. And if you're somebody that looks for like really in-depth descriptions of books in a TBR video, I am sorry. I try to avoid descriptions for the most part. This is a girl who is tasked with cleaning out her grandmother's house. In doing so, she finds some spooky things. That's really all I know. This has been blurbed by pretty much everyone. Alyssa Wong said I would never sleep again. Mira Grant blurbed this as well, as did Chuck Wendig, Sarah Gailey. I don't know who that is, but oh wait, I do know who that is. No, do I? Sherry Priest? Do I know her? I don't know. Either way, this has a lot of accolades. I don't think it has a super high rating on Goodreads, but like with horror books, I tend to be like pretty lenient for like Goodreads ratings because I don't know, I feel like people tend to rate horror pretty low. But this is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I think it's going to be perfect for Halloween. It is quite a bit longer than I expected. It's almost 400 pages, which like, not really about that. I've got too many books to get through to spend time reading a 400-page book. But obviously, if it's well written, it will be worth the large page count. Next up, we have a YA thriller that wasn't on like my list, like the little list I scribbled out before coming to the library, but it is one that has been on my TBR for a bit, and it is All Eyes on Her by L.E. Flynn. I can't remember which booktuber I heard about this from. It may have been Books and Lala, but if it was, I feel like it was like an older video of hers. And like, please don't quote me on that. I know that it's like a murder mystery where there's like one suspect and it is a teenage girl, and we get all of these perspectives, but we never get her perspective. So it's just everybody else kind of, I think, just like theorizing about this girl. I think that it's an interesting way to format a YA thriller. YA thrillers, they're a dicey territory. I think everybody knows it. They don't have a fantastic reputation, but it looks like this is gonna have kind of like a mixed media feel, because I'm seeing like newspaper articles and texts, so I'm pretty excited. I've got pretty high hopes. Next up, we have one that was shorter than I thought it would be, and it's just generally tiny. The Good Son by Yu Jeong. I think that's how you say it. And this was one that was on like my pre-written, I guess, shopping list. I don't remember what it's about. Oh. So, it is about 25-year-old Yu Jin who wakes up in a pool of his mom's blood. Yeah, I'm trying not to read too deeply, but seems pretty dark, which is what I'm kind of looking for. Apparently she is quite well known in Korea, but this is her first book that has been translated to English. So this is a translated work of fiction, and I'm very excited to read it. The next book on the list is We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz, and this is like a pretty new release. I think that I like hopped on the train at a good time, because I think I got it like relatively early. I have not seen anybody talking about this yet, and I know that Andrea Bartz is like pretty, what's the word? She induces talk about her books. People like to talk about her books. Mainly The Herd is the one I've seen a lot. Her average like ratings on everything tend to skew pretty low, which leads me to believe that this book is going to be really weird, because that tends to, the weirdness factor tends to drop the ratings a little bit sometimes. Do I remember what this is about? This is one that I actually had on hold and like had to go pick up from the library because the hold was going to expire soon. She's the reason for this whole thing, honestly. Oh, Megan Miranda blurbed it. That doesn't exactly entice me too much. I didn't love the Megan Miranda book that I read. It's about two friends that go on a trip. Bad things happen. I'm pretty sure it's like a thriller, and it's probably gonna get pretty weird considering that it is Andrea Bartz. I haven't read anything by Andrea Bartz. This is purely just based on what reviews I've seen for her other books. So maybe this one's like super vanilla. I don't know. For the next book, I wanted something like quintessentially Halloween, and like not just any Halloween. I wanted like a very specific Halloween vibe. And that Halloween vibe, if I were to be able to explain it, would be like 2010 Ghost vibes. And like, does this not like capture it? I think it does. I think it perfectly captures it. This book I actually did have on my list. This has been on my TBR for a while. I know that it like won a Goodreads Choice Award for horror back in the day, like a long time ago. I feel like probably in like 2012. Oh, this came out in 2011, so yeah, probably 2011 or 2012. And like, I've never heard about it anywhere besides that. And like, the overall average rating, not very good, but it sounds so spooky. It's about, the title is Graveminder, which like, come on, so spooky, and I really don't want to read what this is about. I want it to just completely take me by surprise, but I can assume this creepy building's gonna be involved, and that's really all I need to know. If I like it enough to finish it, you will hear more about this book in a wrap-up, and I will like tell you what it's actually about. If I don't like it enough to finish it, then we'll just never talk about this again. The next one I like was very much keeping with like the Graveminder theme of like the cover is going to be what leads me to check out the book. This book is one that, when did it come out? 2013, that checks out. This book is one that I, as like a kid, I don't know, kid's not the right word because I would have been older than that, but like as like a young teen, I would like look at this book in the bookstore and think like, oh my gosh, that cover is so pretty, but it was so pretty that I thought that I couldn't pick it up because I don't know. I don't know. I felt like it wasn't for me because it was too pretty. It's very early 2010s cover design-y, but like, I think it works. And it's The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. I don't know what people think about this. I don't know the general opinion, but like, I know it was popular because I saw it everywhere back in the day. And I read the synopsis in the library. I had no intention of picking this book up until I saw it, and then was like, "Oh, you remember that cover? Let's get it now." Now I feel really dumb because apparently this is based on a classic called The Madman's Daughter. Or okay, because when I read it, I was thinking Frankenstein. Oh wait, it's based on The Island of Dr. Moreau, which I read. No, I didn't. No, I read Dr. Franken's Island, which I think was kind of the same thing. I think was a blatant ripoff of The Island of Dr. Moreau, but I read Dr. Franken's Island when I was, like, in middle school, so I didn't know. Anyway, this gal, she has a dad, and he's crazy. And I think he's been, like, exiled to an island, which makes sense. But she, like, hears that her dad has gotten worse. She, like, goes out to the island, and turns out he's, like, been experimenting on animals and has, like, made kind of a monster that's taking over the island. So, like, this, I think, is gonna have everything I look for in a Halloween book. From the cover, I'm getting, like, the gothic vibes. We've got the mad scientist. We've got a monster. Like, I'm so excited. I know that there is a love triangle because it, you know, gave me the warning right away on that one. And, like, I don't know. I'm not completely opposed to love triangles. I don't really seek them out, but I haven't read one, I think, at all this year. So I think it might be kind of fun. It's very YA in 2013 of this book to, you know, have a love triangle, but, like, I'm willing to give it a shot, see how it goes. This is The Madman's Daughter. I hope I like it. Just because I like the cover so much. I really hope I like it. The next book is one that I did write on my list, but I only found out about it as I was writing the list. Like, it wasn't on my TBR or anything. Sorry, I'm reading the back of the book, and there's already something about it that I don't like. There are 3 different characters and their names all rhyme. Is that gonna be enough for me to just say I'm not gonna read it? No, we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna give it a shot. I was on my library page searching to see if The Girl from the Well by Rinch Pecco was in and, like, at my library, and if I was gonna be able to pick it up, because, like, that book, very Halloween, and it wasn't. But, like, the first thing that actually popped up was this, which is The Girl in the Well is Me. Sorry, you couldn't see that at all. The Girl in the Well is... Stop it. The Girl in the Well is Me by Karen Rivers, and the blurb on the front says, "I dare you to pick up this riveting novel without reading straight through to its heart-stopping conclusion." So, I have been dared, and I feel like I have to at least, you know, see the dare through. It's a middle grade, which I, this year, have not had very much success with middle grade, and I really want to. I think that middle grade done well is so good, and, like, I'm on the lookout. And this one, when I looked through the reviews, which the overall rating is not great, but I found out this book is, like, stream of consciousness, which, like, those books never get good overall ratings. But I saw a lot of people saying that this was, like, dark, and I'm here for that. I feel like good, like, dark middle grade is, like, top tier chef's kiss, all of the accolades, that sort of thing. Low expectations, or really just no expectations for this one. Very likely you will never hear about this ever again, because I may start it and be like, Once again, already 3 of the characters' names rhyme, and that is going to be problematic for me. Next up is one that doesn't really fit the vibe. It was on my list, but it is not Halloween-y at all, so very, very likely that I will just kind of keep renewing it until November. But it is a book I have heard nothing but good things about, and it's A Keeper by Graham Norton. Apparently Graham Norton is, like, famous in England. I don't know who he is. He's a broadcaster. He's on BBC. He has his own show. But yeah, everybody, like, said this was surprisingly really, really good. Like, people didn't expect somebody that had spent his whole life not writing professionally to just come out with an absolute banger, but, you know, he did, apparently. Yeah, I think that it's like a mystery. Ooh, it's set in Ireland. That's probably why I added it to my TBR in the first place. Returning to childhood home, kind of going back in time to like the perspective of the mother. I think there's a little bit of like a mystery element involved. Trying to go in pretty blind, but I have heard really, really good things from like a very wide array of people. So I think, once again blinding you, I think it should be pretty good. Next up, we have one that the library had waiting for me because I requested that they put it on hold for me, and it is Wild Card by Marie Lu. And in the video that I'm going to upload tonight, I talk about how I read Warcross by Marie Lu, which is the first book in this duology. Not at all something I would normally go for. And like there were definitely times where I wasn't loving it, but I ended on like 4 stars and like was actually quite impressed with what Marie Lu was able to pull off with that book. I'm gonna give Wild Card a go. Oh, people in the back are comparing it to the Hunger Games. Now that is a dangerous thing to do. Because if you compare it to the Hunger Games, you better be ready to just, you better be ready to meet that expectation. That's all I'm gonna say. That's okay. All right. Okay, sure. It's like the Hunger Games. We'll see. If you are new to my channel, I have been a Hunger Games fanatic since like 10 years old, which is probably too young to be a Hunger Games fanatic, but it's fine. My mom told me I could read them. I know that the last book was called Wild Card, but this next book is probably the actual Wild Card, and it is... The thing is, I don't actually know the title because I thought the title was one thing, but then when I checked my library records, the title was a different thing. Just in general, I've never seen this book before in my life, never heard of it, ever. It came out in like early 2000s, I think I saw. Raised by a mysterious group of rational philosophers, young Octavian is dressed in silks and given the finest of classical educations. His regal mother entertains the scholars with her beauty and wit, but Octavian questions the purpose behind his guardian's fanatical studies. As the disquiet of revolutionary Boston grows around him, Octavian dares to open a forbidden door, only to discover the hideous nature of the experiments, and his own chilling role in them. So, like, I'm intrigued, you got me, but, like, also... when I went to, like, scan this book in, it, like, said, this book doesn't exist, and I was like, oh, intriguing, and then it has, like, a different title, like, in the library system, completely different cover. This is called The Pox Party, or it's called The Astonishing Life of Octavian Nothing, Traitor to the Nation, Volume 1. I know nothing. I could hate this. So much. I'm expecting to. But it's in my possession now, and, you know, based on what the library scanner was telling me, this book has not been checked out in a very long time. So part of me feels like, you know, it probably needs a little bit of time off those library shelves. Last but not least, we have a book that was waiting for me, the last of the bunch, and it is Verge by Lydia Yuknevich. Yeah. Oh, did somebody... somebody left me something in here. Oh, it's not that exciting. It's just a sticky pad. Oh, it's 3 sticky pads. Okay, I wonder if this was their bookmark. If it was, they only made it 4 pages in, so I don't know if that is a bad omen, but I'm not gonna think that way. Oh, this cover has... I think somebody put their coffee cup on top of it. I don't know if you can see it. You can't, but it is... Somebody had their coffee cup on that. That's not very nice. What is this? It's a collection of short stories. I've heard they're supposed to be really weird. I've had this on my TBR for a very long time, and I've completely forgotten, like, the overarching theme of the book. It's a fiercely empathetic group portrait of the marginalized and outcast in moments of crisis, from one of the most galvanizing voices in American fiction. Okay, alright, sure. Yeah, I remember when I added this, like, and told the library to put it aside for me, I didn't have, like, a reason. I was just, like, sitting in my roommate's room and being like, I want to read a book, and they were like, read one, and I'm like, I don't like anything that I have, and they were like, okay, get something else, and I was like, alright, how about this one with a wolf on the cover, and they were like, yes. So, now that you've heard the riveting story of how I got to have the book Verge by Lydia You may or may not see this book again. We'll see. And that's it. That's the 11 books that I have now checked out from my library. I kind of want to like wager a bet on like how many of these I'm going to finish. If I happen to be correct on like this bet, I can like buy myself a book or something. That could be fun. Let's maybe do that. Oh, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to predict I'm gonna predict the star rating on these. Okay, so I'm gonna have to like remember what all of these books are, because this is probably gonna take like 3 months at least to finish all of them. Good thing that this video now exists because I have to keep track of things. For Verge, I am going to expect this to be a 3-star rating. That's kind of a safe bet just because it's short stories. I don't tend to rate short story collections 5 stars. I have given one 4 in the past, and who knows, this one could surprise me, but I'm thinking it's probably gonna be a 3. The Pox Party, I don't want to like set anything up for failure, but I'm gonna guess if I do finish this, it's gonna be a 2-star. Wild Card, my expectations are kind of low. I think I'm gonna give it a... I think I'm also probably gonna end up giving it a 2. I don't have very high expectations, honestly. A Keeper, I'm probably gonna give this 4 stars. That's a pretty safe bet. I've heard really good things about it, but I doubt it'll be a 5-star just because 5-star books for me are few and far between. The Girl in the Well Is Me. Based on the Mandy Candy Sandy situation, honestly, probably a DNF, but you know, maybe not. Okay, they said it was gonna be dark, so let's have a little faith. I'm gonna say 2 stars. I really, really want to like this one, but just something is telling me it's going to disappoint me, so I'm gonna say 3 stars on this one. Same vibe with this one, another 3 stars. We Were Never Here. Interesting. I'm like excited about the concept, but just knowing what like the typical ratings that Andrea Bartz gets, I feel like I have to kind of be a little on the cynical side. But you know what? No, I'm not gonna be cynical. I'm gonna say this is gonna be it'll probably be a 3-star read. I feel bad that I'm not willing to like commit to any good rating. I'm just like setting myself up for a terrible couple months of reading. But this one I think is gonna be a 4-star. I think it has like a 3.75, which like is fine. It's whatever for a thriller. It's kind of middle of the road, not good, not bad. But I don't know, something about this. I feel like it's quick, it's short. I tend to like that in thrillers, so I'm thinking it's gonna be a 4. Probably a controversial opinion to put faith in like a YA thriller because, once again, it's a little bit of a dicey territory, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give this a 4. I'm gonna say that. I think that the mixed media feel is really gonna catapult it into my good graces. And this one I am expecting to give a solid 3 stars to. Wouldn't it be great if I like had the optimism to actually think that every book I read had the potential for 5 stars? I think it'd be really, really fun if my brain was built like that, but it's not. So hopefully some of these surprise me. I left them a lot of room to do so. Let's say if I get at least half of them right, then I buy myself a book. I like that idea. And based on how rampant consumerism is on BookTube, everybody watching probably likes that idea too. And I think that that's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you so much for coming along. I had a really good time going to the library, walking out with a armful of books that made people stare at me. I hope everybody is enjoying spooky season. I actually have like some video plans based around that have nothing to do with any of these books. Oh no, there are more books on their way. And that's it. I'll make another video at some point this month. Goodbye.